We have spent a lot of time exploring the interface of AutoCAD in previous chapters and sections. I wanted to make sure that you knew how to work inside of AutoCAD. Enough is enough, let's actually learn how to draw something. I'm sure you're very excited about that. Well, that's the focus of this section of videos. Now, it's likely that the most common object drawn in the average 2D file in AutoCAD is the line. Now, it might be the easiest object to draw even, just 2 endpoints, just 2 clicks of the mouse, but there are many ways to draw it. So let's get into a blank file that we can use. So if you're in Get Started, just go to your templates and open up an autocad.dwt file. No need to save it or anything, we're just going to go through the command. Now to start the line command, you can go to a lot of different places to do that. If you go to the ribbon, you can go to the Home tab. On the draw panel, this is the line command right here. Left click on it, and it's the line command. Now you can also type in the word line, press enter, and draw another line. Or you can just type in the letter L. They all get you to the same place, and they all work the exact same way. Let's erase these, and let's take a good hard look at the line command. Now the line command is pretty simple. It consists of 2 points. You start the command, pick your first point, move your mouse, pick your second point. That's it. Press return to finish it up, and you have a line. Now the real trick is drawing a line at a specific length, at a specific angle, or a specific location. Fortunately, AutoCAD gives us the ability to draw lines as accurate and as precisely as we want to, and in a lot of different ways. Now, there are many ways, of course, to draw the line we need. Some of the options that we have are by coordinates, by length, by relative direction, by angle, by relative coordinates, and almost any combination of these. Now, if you're starting a brand new drawing, it can be difficult to figure out exactly where to start. I suggest that you find a line that you can base all of your other lines from and go from there. Now in this example, we're going to draw a very simple outline of a house. So I'm going to erase this line here so that we have a clean drawing to work on. So we're going to draw a horizontal line that's 50 feet across. First, let's start with a blank drawing. And I wanted to make sure that we're working in architectural units. So type in the word units, press enter. Make sure we're in architectural and we're in inches, which we are. And when you switch to architectural, the insertion scale should automatically switch to inches, but always double check it just in case. Everything we draw at 1 to 1, meaning 1 unit is going to be 1 inch long. So let's start the line command. Let's put our first point at the origin, or at coordinate 0, 0. Press return. You can pan and zoom to get close to it so that you are kind of in the right area. Now what we're going to do is draw a horizontal line 50 feet to the right. Now there are a lot of different ways you can do that. You can turn on your ortho command, and that will lock you in orthogonally, or horizontal or vertical. And we want to draw it 50 feet to the right. Now remember, we're working in inches for our units, so if we type in 50, it will draw the line at 50 inches, but we want feet. So we can type in 50 and then put in an apostrophe or the foot symbol. AutoCAD will say, oh, okay, yeah, you're drawing 50 units. Oh, but these units are feet, not inches. Okay, I will convert it and do the math, and it's real smart that way. And boom, there's our line. I'm going to press return. I'm going to double click on my scroll wheel for a zoom extents, and here we go. We have our first line of our house that is 50 feet long. One way to check the length of an object real quick is to select it and then hover over one of the grips, and it will give you some basic dimensions. So we can see here it's 50 feet long, which is exactly what we wanted to do. When you're working in architectural units, you draw in inches. Now there are 12 inches to a foot, so 12 times 50 is 600. You can type in 50 apostrophe like we just did for our 50-foot long line, or you can also type in 600, which is 600 units, which is 600 inches, which is 50 feet. Now, if we needed to draw something at 50.5 feet or 50 foot 6 inches, you can. You just type that in as 50 apostrophe 6. No spaces, no separators, nothing like that. And it will draw it at 50 feet 6 inches. Since we turned on the F8 key, it locked in our line to being horizontal or vertical, but I moved the mouse to the right for my first pick point. And so it said, okay, 50 feet that way. Now we're going to draw our next line, and this will be sort of the side wall of our house. So start the line command again, press return, and we're going to draw it from this point right here. Well, if you type in the letters E and D for end, this will do an O snap override. Press enter, and it will snap. See that little green glyph that pops up there? That'll snap on, and that means it's locking into that end point of that line. Started from that end point of that line, and we want to go 30 feet. So type in 30 apostrophe. Make sure your cursor is moved up above the line here so that we can continue on drawing up. Press return. Keep the command going, and you can zoom out with your scroll wheel and pan around as well. Now we're going to go back to the left. So we want to type in 50 feet, 50 apostrophe. Make sure your mouse is moved to the left before you type it in. Press return. And now we're going to do the same. We're going to go at 30 feet, but down. So press return again. And there's the basic outline for the front of our house. Remember that glitch in AutoCAD that sometimes it keeps you from zooming or panning? You can type in REA to refresh your screen. Now we're going to draw the roof. It's just a simple triangle that we're going to do. Start the line command again. Again, type in E and D for your O snap overrides. Press enter and snap to this point. And we're going to draw 5 feet to the right. So 5 feet, or again, remember we're in inches, so you can type in 60 for inches, but no inch mark. You don't have to do that. Press enter. That went over 5 feet. Remember, you can also draw in polar coordinates, or more typically in relative polar coordinates. That means that you can draw lines based on length and angle. To do this, you again start the command line unless you're in it already. You pick your first point. Right now, our first point is right here. And then with the dynamic input on, like I have on right now, you just type in your length, press the tab key, and then the angle. Now, I've already done the math ahead of time, and I'm going to put the top of our roof right about here. And so I know what has to be done. So I'm going to type in 40 feet, then press the tab key. And now I'm going to enter in the angle. Because my ortho command is on, it's going to automatically enter in angles according to every 90 degrees. So I'm going to turn that off with this toggle switch here. And now you can get a better look at it. Now remember, when you draw an angle in AutoCAD, 0 degrees is to the right on a perfectly horizontal line. That's 0 degrees. 90 degrees starts here and then goes counterclockwise until it's straight up. 180 degrees is continuing on down to here. And that's where it goes. So remember, it starts on the right and then goes counterclockwise. So we want our angle to look a little bit like this. So I've already figured out what our angle needs to be, and that's going to be 138.59. And there's our angle. Okay, and now I'm going to draw my line down on the opposite direction. Now I need 40 feet. Make sure you type in the feet, press tab. And I need to type in my angle. Now, angles can get kind of tricky. Sometimes they can be relative to where your mouse location is. If I keep my mouse location in this quadrant, it may treat it as being negative. So I'm going to make sure I'm up here in this positive coordinate, and I'm going to type in 221.41 degrees. And there it goes. Now I'm going to just snap to this endpoint, type E and D, press enter. Left click on that point, press enter again, zoom extents, and there is the basic outline of our house. Now this is very simple right here of what we've just done, but that shows you a lot of different ways that you can draw different lines using different types of methods. We did some absolute coordinates, absolute lengths. We used the ortho command to help us lock it in vertical and horizontally. We also used some relative polar coordinates, so we can draw in that way as well. Now, before we go, I want to review drawing with coordinates. If you enter in coordinates for the first point in your line, they will always be absolute, meaning that those coordinates are where your first point of the line will be drawn. When we drew our very first line here, this bottom line, we started it off at 0, 0. It knew exactly where to go. That's an absolute coordinate. Now, if you enter in coordinates for the second point, they will be what's called relative distance, or it will be that many units from your first point. So if I draw my line again from 0, 0, press return, and let's say I want it to be at 25 feet to the right and 25 feet up, so somewhere around this area. I need to make sure that I tell it to go 25 feet over and 25 feet up. So I need to start with the pound symbol. The pound symbol tells AutoCAD that the coordinates you are about to enter are absolute. So you type in 25, comma, and 25. And I didn't hit the feet, I hit inches instead, but that'll still work fine for our example. So now these coordinates are at 25 and 25 inches, which is 2 foot 1 inch and 2 foot 1 inch. And you can see that's the way it is on our coordinates in the bottom center of my screen. Lines are simple objects, but there are many ways to draw them. That gives us several methods to make sure that we accurately draw the information that we need. And we do that based on the information we already have and by knowing what it is we hope to achieve in our line work.